Moore.
Here.
O'Kane.
Here.
Shaner. Here. Scott.
Here.
Waters.
Here. Please stand for a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gene Logan, you want to meet me at the microphone there? We have to sing happy birthday.
I think you should sing happy birthday, actually.
Oh, here we go. Come on, Mayor.
That's going to happen today, but happy birthday. We have a proclamation that reads, whereas the Head Start and Early Head Start programs of the Community Action Agency of Siouxland and other local organizations in conjunction with the National Association for the Education of Young Children are celebrating the Week of Young Children, April 6th through the 12th, 2024. And whereas the first years of a child's life contain the most rapid brain development and lay the foundation for all future learning. And whereas participating in high-quality early childhood education saves the taxpayers' dollars, makes working families more economically secure, and prepares children to succeed in school, even higher wages, and live healthier lives. Whereas we must recognize that high-quality early childhood education depends on high-quality, properly compensated early childhood educators who ensure that children supported by families have the early experience they need for a strong foundation. Now, therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Sioux City, Iowa, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim April 6th to the 12th as Week of the Young Child in Sioux City and encourage all citizens to work to make an investment in early childhood. I'd like to present this to you guys. Go ahead and say a few words.
Thank you very much. We will be celebrating the Week of the Young Child all week, so I would invite any of the City Council members, if you haven't yet, to come and read a story or have lunch or breakfast with the kids in one of our Early Head Start or Head Start classrooms. I also would say, even though it's my birthday, we brought you a gift. This is a painting done by one of our classrooms, and it's entitled Spring in Sioux City. And so we also have some information that we would, if you put the painting up, we've got our QR code that shows information about our agency, and it talks a little bit about our program.
Well, thank you. We appreciate all you do for young people.
Thank you so much.
Good work. Thank you so much. Helen, is anybody at the library today? Okay. Out to lunch. Whereas the Sioux City Public Library offers the opportunity for everyone to connect with others, learn new skills, and pursue their passion no matter where they are on life's journey. She can come over here and take pictures if she wants, tell her. Whereas the Sioux City Public Library has long served as a trusted institution striving to ensure equitable access to information and services for all members of the community, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, or gender identity, or socioeconomic status. The Sioux City Public Library promotes the free exchange of information and ideas for all. Whereas the Sioux City Public Library adapts to the ever-changing needs of their community, developing and expanding collections, programs, and services that are as diverse as the population they serve. Whereas the Sioux City Public Library plays a pivotal role in economic development by providing resources and support for job seekers, entrepreneurs, and small businesses, thus contributing to local prosperity and growth. Now, therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Sioux City, Iowa, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim April 7th through the 13th as National Library Week and encourage all residents to visit the Sioux City Public Library in person or virtually and celebrate the adventures and opportunities they unlock for us every day. I'd like to present this and thank you guys for all you do.
This is our board president.
Okay, go ahead and say a few words.
Well, thank you very much. I think the people of Sioux City are lucky to have such a wonderful and professional staff of people to take care of everything they need at the libraries, and a voluntary community board that oversees that, and we are super lucky to have free public libraries in Iowa and the ability for everyone to read and learn at what they would like without worry. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate your work. We'll go to interviews for boards and commissions, Building and Housing Code Board, Willie Delfs. Willie, come on up. And been around longer than me, Willie. Tell us why you want to keep serving.
Well, I was just back there pondering whether you'd been mayor longer or I'd been on this board longer.
You were
I'm
here
here
when
to
I was here
apply
the
for the
last
same
time,
spot.
I know that.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, I'd just like to confirm that I have interests in this board. I've sat on it many times. I think it's important to my industry to help out in that way, and also as a landlord and just a citizen at large. So I ask that you approve my appointment.
Question.
Willie, I really appreciate your making the application. I think we still have, 3 vacancies on that board?
Yes.
And the board's very important to the mayor and the city council, and your service on it is really helpful. And so I'm glad you still have an interest in
I appreciate
being
that.
active on that committee. You rely on a lot of the recommendations that come from boards and commissions. So thank you, Willie.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Willie? No questions. Thank you. We
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
much.
you. Jody Rapemeyer, Events Facility and Tourism Advisory Board.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to serve.
My name is Jody Reitmeyer. I have been in the hospitality industry for almost 25 years now at this point. I started my career at Botticelli's restaurant, as a matter of fact. Minerva's that John Gleason tore down and then made the new marketplace. So at that point, then I went to the Marina Inn, and I served as the director of catering for about 20 years. I planned meetings, events, conventions, weddings, pretty much everything under the sun. And then in 2020, COVID hit, and nobody needed a director of catering. So at that time, I was kind of enjoying my free time at the golf course and was approached by Kinseth Hospitality to become their director of sales. And I needed a job, and they needed a director of sales, so I took that position. I was there for about 2 years, and then took a better opportunity with the Hilton Garden Inn. There I serve as their director of sales. I plan events, all of the things, and deal with the hotel rooms. I feel like my experience in the hospitality industry would be a great addition to the board. When I was at Kinseth, I used to go to the meetings and present all that was going on, and Alex knows. So I think it's important. A lot of times we'd have meetings and we didn't have a quorum. I would be a board member who's going to show up, give my honest opinion and feedback, and give any guidance that I can.
Thanks, Jody, for making the application. I think you'll be a valuable member as
Excellent.
well, and it's a very important board. I see we have 2 vacancies on that one, but there is one person that has an application on file. They just haven't interviewed with us.
Correct. The 2 vacancies right now, one is required to be filled by a member of the hospitality industry. The second is required to be filled by someone on the Orpheum board, and we don't have one for that. So the other application that we have on file is for a resident of.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Questions?
No questions. I think you'll be a perfect fit.
Great,
No
thank
doubt.
you.
Looking forward to it.
Great, thank you so much. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thanks, Jody.
We'll go to the consent agenda today. That those items are 3 through 15C. Consider them to pass unanimously. Anybody wanting to speak on an item, please come up as I read that item and state your name and address for the record. If you want to speak on an item not on the agenda, please come up under citizen concerns. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
3 is a reading of the April 1st City Council minutes. 4 is a resolution accepting the work of Dixon Construction for the Dace Avenue Bridge Reconstruction Project. 5 is a resolution accepting a donation from the Siouxland Trails Foundation for the Big Sioux Pedestrian Bridge Crossing Project. 6 is a resolution approving a partial settlement of a claim. 7 is a resolution inviting proposals for the lease of land in the combined Central Sioux City CBD urban renewal area and scheduling a hearing, the property at 401 Gordon Drive.
Mayor?
Yeah.
I'd like to ask Matt Salvatore some questions. Matt, could you please tell me if there's been any interest shown and what the lease term was that will be expiring, and whether we have any improvements that will be left or that will remain with the premises?
Sure. Matt Salvatore, Parks and Recreation Director. The previous lease term was 3 years. That'll be up at the sometime this month. The various improvements that happened under that lease was the wall padding in the gymnasium, and then the remodel of the lobby area up front.
Chesterman Lounge.
Chesterman Lounge, the city has since also painted the entire gymnasium and remodeled the 2 bathrooms adjacent to the Chesterman Lounge.
Okay.
We have had a couple conversations with folks that expressed interest. I don't know if they're going to be submitting a proposal on after today. We'll try to promote it a little bit and see if we can get some interest in that facility.
Excellent. Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
Matt, I just had one follow-up question while you're here, and I was going to call you later, but where is the party room, the exception of that? I was trying to think of where that is and why that's a part of it. I mean, I understand the climbing wall has a separate
Yeah.
and everything
The
agreement.
party room is directly right across from the climbing wall. So it's attached to the climbing wall. So
Got it.
those two,
So it's utilized by that entity,
Yep.
so they
Yep.
manage those two things.
Yep.
So this would be for the gymnasium as well as the Chesterman Lounge area,
Yep.
kind of use of that general.
And it
Yep,
does
there's an
work-
office.
It does work really well for kids' parties and things
Yeah.
like that.
Great.
Yep.
I just wanted that clarification.
Sure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
8 are appointments to boards, commissions, and committees. Motion of reappointing Mike McClennan to the Civil Service Commission. Motion appointing Samantha Daly to the Environmental Advisory Board. 9 are actions relating to street closures. A is a resolution temporarily closing various streets near Grandview Park, July 6th and 7th for the Saturday in the park. B is a resolution temporarily closing various streets in the downtown area, May 19th for the Bishop Heaton High School graduation reception. C is a resolution temporarily closing various streets in the downtown area, May 11th for the Sioux City Art Free Family Art Day. 10 are
Mayor, just a quick comment on 9A, Saturday in the Park. Thanks, Angel, for bringing these to us for vacation. I just wanted to say, Mayor, that with the weather we've been having the past several months, there was at one point in time I wanted to submit a mini editorial saying, I can't hardly wait for July with Saturday in the Park, and hopefully it's around the corner. It's really, really a great event that we have in this community, and I'm so happy to see that it's on our agenda already, and it will happen, so thank you very much. Thanks, Mayor.
10 are actions adopting construction documents. A is a resolution adopting plans and specs for the Lion Park Improvement Project. B is a resolution adopting plans and spec for the utility lining project. 11 are actions relating to agreements and contracts. A is a resolution awarding a service provider agreement to Nystrom Electric for the Bridge Light Pole Base Repair Project. B is a resolution approving a change order number 6 to the contract for Vector Construction for the Martin Building Basement and Sub-Basement Structural Repair Project.
I need to abstain on that item, conflict of interest.
C is a resolution approving change order number 1 to the Sioux Service Provider Agreement with Chad's Tree Service for the Big Sioux Levee Clearing Project. 12 are actions relating to assessments. A is a resolution fixing the amount to be assessed against private property, adopting and levying schedule of assessments for weed abatement program. B is a resolution fixing the amounts to be assessed against private properties, adopting and levying schedule of assessments for the nuisance abatement program. 13 are purchasing. A is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Siouxland Concrete for concrete products on the Public Works Department. B is the resolution awarding a purchase order to Riverside Technologies for the city laptop replacement. 14 are applications for beer and liquor license. See the list. 15 board, commission, and committee minutes. Review. Anybody want to be heard on any of those items? Passes 5-0. Recommendations of Planning and Zoning. 16 is a hearing and ordinance rezoning 300 South Martha Street. P and Z recommends approval. The petitioner is Galen Parker, Midwest Welding. I'll move that.
Second.
Public hearing's now open. No controversy. Anyone to be heard? Marty, do you still working with them on their school, or, I mean, have you talked to them lately? Do they still have their school going? Do you know? Okay, good, good, okay. Hearing's now closed.
Or can you hit that one more time? Thank you.
Passes 5-0. Anybody opposed to waiving the statutory rule?
No.
Move that.
Second.
O'Kane?
Aye.
Shaner?
Aye.
Scott? Waters?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Move second and third.
Second.
Shaner?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
O'Kane?
Aye.
17 is a hearing and resolution accepting the proposal of Mid-America Energy for an overhead electric easement in the combined Floyd River urban renewal area, the property commonly known as 1823 18th Street. I'll move that.
Second.
Anyone to be heard? The public hearing is now open. Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 18 is a hearing and resolution approving plans and specs for the 6121 Pershing Street parking lot overlay project. I'll move that.
Second.
Anyone to be heard? The hearing's now open. Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 19 is a hearing and resolution instituting proceedings for the issuance of GO bonds or capital loan notes. I'll move that.
Second.
Public hearing's now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 20 is a hearing and resolution instituting proceedings for the issuance of GO bonds or capital notes. I'll move that.
Second.
Public hearing's now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 21 is a hearing and resolution instituting proceedings for the issuance of GO bonds or capital notes. I'll move that.
Second.
Public hearing's now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 22 is a hearing and resolution instituting proceedings for the issuance of GO bonds or capital notes. I'll move that.
Second.
Public hearing's now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 23 is a hearing and resolution instituting proceedings for the issuance of GO bonds or capital notes. I'll move that.
Second.
Public hearing's now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 24 is a resolution authorizing the issuance of GO bonds and levying a tax for payment. I'll move that.
Second.
Passes 5-0. Presentation of the Gordon Drive Viaduct Reconstruction Project.
Good afternoon. Gordon Fair, City Engineer. Jessica Felix and Shane Timkowitz are here to give us a brief update on the design of the Gordon Drive Viaduct and a couple of design considerations. So, I'll get that started for you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good to see everybody.
Too.
So, last time we were here was in December, so we thought we'd give folks an update. Kind of a couple of little changes to the project schedule. Since December, the public hearing now will be moved to roughly October timeframe. Last time we were here, it was supposed to be in May. We had to do a little bit more of environmental archaeological. You probably saw those backhoes and fencing down near the Lewis Boulevard area, and kind of just do our due diligence down there. So we have kicked off the aesthetics committee. 2 of you are on that, and we really appreciate your time there. We have a landowners meeting the end of this month and a stakeholders meeting the day before that. So we are starting to proceed and make some refinements to the preferred alternative, which is why we are here today. Just a little reminder, we do have a project going on this summer. It kicked off last week. We are doing a rehabilitation of the Gordon Drive Viaduct in hopes that we can keep it load posted at 40 ton and kind of use it and hold it together until the construction of the new bridge. We anticipate, we got the estimates updated, and if you guys see, we're kind of pushing that $193 million total, which includes the Bacon Creek conduit. So we have that first phase of 40 million is already in the approved 5-year plan from the commission. And then when they update the next plan year, we'll have that big lump sum of about 160 million, hopefully in that next one. So while we're here, we have 3 options that we'd like the city council's input on as we begin to refine. One of them is more of an update on Cunningham Drive. We had discussed that we'll have a south connection down into what is the former stockyards area. And this will be a full reconstruction of Cunningham from Gordon Drive Viaduct to Leach. It'll have a 2.4% grade profile between Gordon and Dace. The profile between Dace and Leach is very similar. We've done some lane shifts we've designed it so the lane shifts have been eliminated in the Leach and Dace intersections, and all the Cunningham Drive lanes are aligned from Gordon Drive to Home Depot. This design here will allow some on-street parking on the east side, and it'll allow that 10-foot mixed-use path located on the west side of Cunningham. I'd like to note that on Dace Avenue, we are looking at converting that from 4 lanes to 2 lanes to provide some on-street parking. There would be room for 10 parking spots in each direction. So this is kind of a summary here. So on Cunningham, there would be 7 on-street parking spots between Dace Avenue and Leach. Then we'd like the city council to consider a 3-lane option of Dace Avenue and Leach. So we'll start with more of the Dace section. We would like to convert it we're recommending a conversion of 4 lanes to 3 lanes. The 3-lane section would have a 12-foot driving lane, a 14-foot, 2 left turn lane, and then a 12-foot driving lane. That would be provided from Floyd Boulevard on the west all the way through Cunningham. We would have the slip ramp terminate the west bike lane at Floyd Boulevard. This would allow this Dace Avenue to accommodate a new multi-use path, which is in the long-term comprehensive plan. The bike lanes would be widened between Steuben Street and Cunningham Drive due to the additional pavement width. And it kind of brings in that multimodal feel that we've been discussing for this area. let's see, this would also not require the newly rehabbed Dace Avenue Bridge, any modification. So. Then on the Leach Avenue option, again, we would recommend a 4-lane to 3-lane conversion, again, for that multimodal accommodation within the existing section, so that's curb to curb. It would require a restriping again. And then the joint lines of the intersection there at Lewis, we wouldn't have to really expand that intersection because right now it necks down at the railroad. And if we were to continue that 4-lane through, it becomes problematic with the railroad crossing, especially as we add that multimodal trail. So that was one of the reasons why we began to look at this is as that trail comes in and we have the intersection with the rail crossing, if we can have a little bit more narrow profile of the roadway, it has less impacts on the rail crossing. It makes it safer as we have rail, vehicular traffic, and bike ped coming into one intersection.
Will that be on the street or is that showing kind of more like a sidewalk area? Because I know there's not a sidewalk currently that
There is
connects.
actually a sidewalk
Oh, is
on the
there?
north side, but it's disjointed. So the plan for, I can't remember what it's called, I think it's the Stockyards Connection as part of the Plywood Trail was to add a multi-use path. Well, this would prevent you from having to buy any real estate. It could be on street. It kind of brings it all together as one and should save some of that impacts to the area around it. So.
One of the things that I brought up in our Public Works team meeting that I just wanted to bring up to the two of you as well was just thinking about the crossing of the intersection at Cunningham and being able to jog across, because I do know that that's kind of where the main trail then follows Cunningham south. And so just thinking through, I emphasized to Gordon that I'll just want to make sure that we have adequate signage as well as markings on the pavement, just directing that traffic, because they'll be coming from the channel and that area, you know, and then being able to, if they want to go south or continue on, at least we have that bike trail width right there that they'll be able to utilize. We'll just want them to cross at that intersection.
So benefits of a 4-lane to 3-lane conversion are that it's a low-cost safety solution planned in conjunction with pavement overlay. We can look at the pavement life. The concrete actually is in very good condition right now. We'll have to look at that life cycle when we get into construction. One option would also be to diamond grind it and then put the restriping down rather than doing a thin overlay. We want to be prudent and get the most out of that asset as possible. So, but it'll provide traffic calming, more consistent speeds. It's community focused. It becomes a complete street. So, like I've been saying for the last 18 months, this Gordon Drive viaduct is an igniter for the area. This is kind of this forward thinking of what do you want this to look like. The city has passed that they want that multi-use path to come down into the Stockyards area, and this is one way to incorporate it into the roadway system down there and create that complete street. The final option that we would like the city to consider is closing the east leg of Leach Avenue. So that's kind of that bulb out right up there. One of the reasons that we began to look at this is that as we make an at-grade intersection between Lewis Boulevard and Gordon Drive, we were looking at the curvature of Lewis Boulevard, which is a 4-lane, and how to best set folks up to that new traffic signal that'll be coming in. In addition, as I had just spoken about, we have bike ped, roadway vehicles, and then a train all converging at the Leach Avenue and the Lewis Boulevard intersection. So as most folks might be aware, Leach Avenue on the east side has a very steep grade. We have had in the last 10 years 45 traffic incidents at that intersection. And so we began to just put on our thinking caps going, what if we removed one leg? Yes, there's a few manufacturing and businesses right there along Lewis. We understand that access might be important, but as you move to the east, you start to get into more of a neighborhood feel, and so that cul-de-sac might provide that a little bit more.
But our very first in-street bike lane is right there, and so you're gonna not allow people from Morningside to come down and hook up to that? Is that what you're saying?
Actually, you will. There'll be a tunnel that will go under Lewis Boulevard. I don't know if, it's kind of that
See that red
red bone looking thing. There's two tunnels that will go under Lewis Boulevard, one to the north and one to the south, that will allow you to connect into the bike trail, and it'll loop down. So the bike and peds will never have to interact in this area with the Lewis Boulevard traffic.
But how do I get from Miles in to there on a bike? Because you've taken that,
If you
I
take
mean, we've built
college,
that bike trail all up the avenue now. Every time we redo a street, we build that trail, so that's gonna take and get rid of that.
if you take College Street, you'll hop onto the bike trail, go through the tunnel, go to the west, come down where the old Lewis Boulevard is, and then head to the west on that southwest and get onto Leach Avenue.
No, but that's okay.
No, but I mean, do you see where she's talking about
Yeah,
it?
but that's a college or whatever, it's not that wide of a street. It's not as wide as what you have up by Miles in, so I
Yeah.
don't think you're gonna accomplish what you want to accomplish, but
Okay.
I know about it.
Good feedback.
Well, it's just something for us to consider, doesn't it?
It's a consideration. You know, Leach Avenue does see approximately 1,900 vehicles per day. So it's something. And we recognize too that there is some industry right there. So, but from an intersection safety standpoint, one of the reasons we're looking at it is it does have a high potential for us to address it with an improvement. And one of the ways to improve it would be to close a leg, depending on what you want to do for planning and the future use and how the multimodal kind of works together. The other benefit we thought of too is we're trying to push everyone to that trail and to that tunnel under Lewis Boulevard. So by closing that and putting it in the cul-de-sac, it will force people to use it rather than kind of skip it and go into the signalized intersection. And we are able to differentiate between the bike ped traffic and the vehicular traffic.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well when you were going through it and kind of directing over to the tunnel is even if we were to vote or to ask you to keep that intersection open, I think we're gonna have to, like, say for argument's sake that we do keep it open, I think you're gonna want to have signage directing bike traffic down College no matter what. You know what I mean? I think from a safety aspect, I understand that the grade of that intersection is problematic or something we would never advise, you know, by today's standards. But it is one of those things where while vehicular traffic is more used to that grade, I wouldn't want to see, and to the mayor's point, you know, people utilizing that bike lane or being able to get down in that area and then just trying to pop over that hill. I think that would, anything that we could do as improved signage, if that intersection were to remain open, I think direct them to that tunnel would be an improved safety feature for sure.
Is there any opportunity to lower the grade there?
You'd be chasing it pretty far, you know, and it would have a lot of property impacts. So yes, this has property impacts, and we acknowledge that. This is more of the minimal, but it's just something that we could pursue and discuss those details if it's a consideration for the city. This would be, again, more of a nice to have. It's a great opportunity. It does make the design, we have to take design exception on those reverse curves on Lewis Boulevard if we are to keep the intersection as a four-leg at Lewis and Leach. and it makes a 4-phase preemptive rail signal a little bit more complicated. The other benefits here are, right now we have a double arrow green. And, you know, we could potentially look at a free flow of the eastbound to southbound movement as folks get out of the businesses there in the former stockyards. And so it might simplify some of that type of movements there. And it would be safer to go to get rid of the double green arrow, so.
Question for you. How necessary, how important is the on-street parking? And I didn't really catch all the areas that the on-street parking would be placed that we don't have right now. I'm just wondering who that serves.
So as you develop this, as you can see, you have an empty lot there. It could potentially serve a future business. The on-street parking on Cunningham would serve the existing businesses that are there right now. And then the ones that are on Dace could serve the one existing business to the north and then any development that happens to the south. It does not have to go in. We are just showing it as an option.
It doesn't create any kind of safety issues?
We have parking there today that those businesses use along that side. So they're on the east side of Cunningham, use that, both for, it appears to be for their employee. They have very limited access for parking otherwise in that area. So there would be an impact to those businesses. From a safety standpoint, no parking is always the best to have from a safety standpoint. Anytime you have an access, you have parking, there's a chance that you can have accidents. But you also have to have parking for businesses and what their ability is to attract and also just park for their own staff that's through there. So we tried to follow through and replace largely what is there today.
Okay, thank you.
Dan, as an example for you to visualize, I know in our team meeting, we actually pulled up Google Earth and because Julie and I wanted to visualize what that would look like, where it would go and what it would impact. And you have Fastenal that's right there, and it appears, even when we pulled up Google Maps, all of their employees park on that west side of the building. Well, that's actually city right-of-way. It's not even parking. You're not supposed to park there, but you know, it's kind of been allowed. That's not that area right there. So this would actually improve that area. They wouldn't lose any parking spaces necessarily, but it would just be more designated as parking rather than them kind of pulling up on that area. Is that right, Jessica, Shane?
That is correct. Right now, parking is a little ad hoc.
Yeah.
Park in the city right-of-way. They park where the sidewalk technically should be. So this design would create that parking lane, and then it would create the boulevard and the sidewalk, and then you'd have the buildings on the east side of Cunningham like they are today. So it would create that buffer zone and kind of delineate, whereas right now it's very blurred. And so by creating the parking lane, you would differentiate that.
Probably blurred enough that we don't post any signs, I'm guessing.
Correct. So again, these are options as we move towards a refined preferred alternative. We wanted to confirm, you know, if you would like that 3-lane alignment on Cunningham with the parking lanes. If you want us to pursue the 4 to 3-lane option on Dace Avenue, Leach Avenue, and then the city stands on a potential cul-de-sac on the east leg of Leach. So. Further questions for Shane or myself?
I would just make one small comment, though, that, Bobby, you're correct, that this is going to change all the bike path and pedestrian movements in that area. As we add the plywood trail system and we add the trail system along Gordon Drive itself, you're going to get a much different pedestrian movement. Counts are going to be much higher. So there is a strong pedestrian thought that's in there. We focus more on what the direct area of our impact of our project is, but we continue to work with Matt Salvatore, what the vision is for building that out. So there's probably going to be a trickle-down effect to what that looks like as this project develops.
Okay,
Jessica, when would you like our individual responses, collective responses? What helps you keep the process going? I mean, do you want feedback here now in this type of forum? I know, obviously, Julie and I have been briefed on it and talked about it at length at our team meeting, but other council members might want a little more time to digest or drive down in that area. What are your thoughts?
I think it behooves all of you to drive down and look at it, think about it, talk to Matt on that bike trail. Ideally, if we could have some sort of response from the city, that would be helpful. So we have it documented, you have it documented, and we can put it in with, as we refine that preferred alternative. Like I said, at the end of this month, we have our stakeholder and landowner meetings. We're gathering their feedback as well. So, you know, if we can incorporate all about the same time, a month from now, it'd be great.
So it looks like I know you're not going to like my comments because you normally don't, but it looks like you're pretty far along. And I don't know, did we already agree that we're going to come around like that to a four corner stop? I know that that's been your preferred alignment all along, but I didn't know that we had actually even voted on that. So I think you're so far along that, not being critical, I'm just stating facts. I don't think it matters what we want right now.
So you mean the Lewis Boulevard and Gordon Drive section is at grade? The city sent a letter back in 2022 stating that they supported that. That was incorporated into a preferred alternative analysis, and we haven't received correspondence that you didn't want to at grade since the December 11th meeting. So that's why we're.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know where all these decisions got made because I don't know. We must have, and I just don't remember it. But Gordon, there were like 3 alternatives. When did this council tell you that was a decision they wanted it, that's the way they wanted it?
It was in '22 that we sent the letter out saying we did want the at-grade interchange at Lewis. And then again, we sent it in December.
And I asked when the council directed you. When did we?
I sent out a memo to all of you in December.
Asking for feedback or changes
Yes.
to what would be recommended.
This is a whole lot different than what I realize it's a work in progress, but you know, there's a business on Leach. How's that business get in now, the welding place? How do they get into their business? Because they enter off of Leach right now.
Oh, Wilson Trailers?
The welding.
The welding store.
The welding
Oh,
supply.
welding, yeah.
Going to be impacted.
No matter what the alternative is.
I understand that, but now they have no way to get in off of Leach, right? You're going to are you taking their business? Are you taking that whole building? Because if you're turning that driveway, are you taking their parking lot?
The cul-de-sac isn't a final design, it was an option. As far as.
I'm talking about, do they lose some of their parking lot with that?
With the Lewis Boulevard realignment, yes, their parcel is impacted. The extent of that impact, we're still refining, and we'll meet with it. It's why we're having individual property owner meetings at the end of this month. So I do
we
not
have
want
to decide
to be.
until we know. I don't want to decide until property owners have their day in court, because
Correct.
we're going to go to that meeting and say, this is what the city's proposing, and I don't want to be the city proposing anything until I don't. You guys can vote, and that's fine. I don't want that, because I want the property owners to have a say in what they think's best for their business.
That's why I said we're going to hold those at the end of the month. And then if we could get input summary from the city council after that, so a month
would like
from
it to
now,
be after.
a couple weeks after that, then that'll allow you to get that feedback from property owners.
What would help me the most is if I could get the diagrams that you had with the color. And then what will help me the most, what I used to do on plan and zoning, is I'll get with Matt and we'll go drive it together. Or Gordon, I just need to have someone with me that can point out, this is what it looks like now, this is what it's going to look like. but the maps would, or the drawings that you had were very good today, and they would help me while I'm out on the site looking at it, because that's the way I like to look at things. And I think also for any council input, I could be wrong, Stephen, but I think we'd want to set it for a hearing or put it on the agenda for others to comment on it. And they could comment today as well, because they could see that it's on the agenda, but it was more of a discussion presentation than it was taking a vote on anything anyway.
Yeah.
But if I could get those from you, that would be really helpful.
Those I included with that memo I sent last week.
But could I get the color part? I like the color part. I suppose I could try to print it color, but
No, I can print you out a copy, yes.
perfect.
And I think that just, again, I know that I'm the only one who feels that way, and that's fine, but to send out a memo and say, give us your opinion without any interaction, I think that's a vote without a meeting, guys. I'm telling you, you can't, we ought to be terribly careful, Bob, when we do that, because, Mr. City Attorney, well, I mean, how do I know what was in the memo? How do I know what other council members think if we don't discuss it here like we're doing today? I don't think you should be able to do that, personal opinion, but
So part of the NEPA process is gathering input from as many individuals as possible. The challenge is that we are here in a public forum, and so I cannot speak on behalf of like my interactions with one property owner because it's unfair to them to air their business.
not asking.
I know, but what I'm trying to
when you're
explain-
saying you're gonna have parking on the street and that kind of stuff, I just think that the council should say, like we are today, okay, then we gotta,
We will come to follow up. We're just presenting the options today. We're not asking for a vote. We're showing what is available as an option and the pros and cons.
understand that, I'm not finding fault with, it's our process. I don't think it should be a memo, 5 people, and then Gordon gets to determine what that 5 responses mean. I'm not picking on him. I just think the way we're doing it's inappropriate. This is a major project for this community. It's going to have lasting impact on economic development, good and bad. And I think we're way down the road here without a lot of public input. I'm sorry, but you moved it to the south, and I don't know that the public is going to support that, but you moved it already.
We have not. That is right now one of the refined preferred alternatives. That's why we have the public hearing in the fall. So we do not have a signed off by the federal government, by the FHWA on a preferred alternative yet. We're still going through the refinement process, which is meeting with landowners, meeting with stakeholders, and meeting with the city. Some of these, we recognize, these are the local roads, and the project on Gordon Drive has that influence on it. Therefore, we should present those options.
Could you go back to one of your first slides? Shows the various dates of what's occurred and what will occur, because I think that's what we're talking about.
Correct. So April 29th, and I apologize, it's in the wrong order, the stakeholders meeting will be. And then April 30th, we will meet with the individual landowners that are affected by the project. We will continue to work on a preferred alternative refinement, and the public hearing, which is when we will have input from the public on what we think is the preferred alternative, will be in the fall of 2024. That's tentative, like the 1st of October. Then the public has 30-day comment period after we hold the hearing, and then we take those comments, we determine what we are doing to address them, and then we finalize our documentation and send it to FHWA and hopefully get a signed environmental document and proceed with final design.
And looking at this, that city council input, Gordon, is that was at a city council meeting asking for our input, and that was a presentation, is that correct?
Correct. So that was a presentation by myself, Shane Dakin, on December 11th, and then Iowa DOT met December 14th and 15th to look at all the various alternatives and come up with a refined alternative that I presented to my executive management team. And so that was for replacing the Gordon Drive viaduct with 2 structures, a south connection to Cunningham, an at-grade intersection at Lewis and Gordon Drive. And then right now, the alternative looks at it that it would be built to the south of the existing structure in order to allow traffic control during construction.
What's happening, and I appreciate this outline, it helps me a lot. What's happening during the right-of-way acquisitions 26, 27, are those calendar years, or is that the fiscal year? Is that?
Both.
Both, probably. What are we doing what's happening in 2025 then?
So right now, we're working, in 2025, we'd be working on final design. Currently, we're trying to resolve the 800 utility conflicts, which will also influence that preferred alternative. We have about 20 meetings this week with the various utility entities to look at what they have for conflicts and if we need to adjust things. But 2025 would be final design, and we've already started some early acquisition of parcels that were in the corridor preservation.
So the utilities, so if any utilities have to be rearranged or moved or whatever word you want to use, is that included in your cost estimates that you have?
Not to date, because we have not been able to get a full estimate on that yet.
Fair enough.
We're in that information gathering stage right now.
Okay, but that's not something, that doesn't shift to the city.
Those are city utilities or city responsibilities. So water.
Sewer, storm.
But can't we change that? Can't we change that?
Got us on the interstate, it kept escalating. It started off at 15 million and we were 33 or 34 before we were done.
But you work with the city then on
Correct.
That.
Correct.
They do it, they bid it, and then when they get all done with the project, they come down with a nice envelope with a bill in it for us to pay.
That's why they're meeting with all those utility or the problematic
They do
areas.
the upfront on all of it, but you
Yes.
get a bill for it.
But that'd be during 2025 then? That's,
No, you wouldn't have to get the bill till the construction.
no, but during 2025, you're looking at the utilities. Then you're really
We're
getting,
looking at the utilities right now. We have assessed what we already have there, what we think will be in conflict, what needs to be moved ahead of time, what would be temporarily accommodated, and then what is the final design.
Okay.
So for instance, we have to temporarily the project includes reconstruction of the Bacon Creek conduit. Well, we have to figure out what we're going to do during construction while we build the new one and maintain water and flow in the existing. Or for instance, maybe you impact the storm sewer. Well, you have to figure out what the temporary accommodation will be and then also what the final design is.
you know, and you've answered my questions. I think my questions haven't been well worded. So that's something that remains to be seen then, is the cost of the,
But they have an estimate, they've pre-estimated,
oh, you have?
haven't you?
I
Nope.
don't think.
Not
Not
for
in your
utility.
157?
No.
Oh, because that's not your cost, yeah,
Well, no, we have our cost. So if we have to move a large gas main,
right.
overhead
that's what I'm
power
saying.
lines, that would be
Yeah.
in the cost of the project.
But we haven't seen that allocation, have we? I mean, do we know what is in store for us? I guess I'm just trying to get a handle on what maybe
That's
the
what we're working on
utilities.
this week.
That will what? I'm sorry.
That's part of that information gathering like this week, where this is our second round of meetings with the utilities to look at what can they do ahead of time? What do we think that magnitude of cost will be? What do we think the timing will be?
Show us that split, the slide that's got the,
Dan, we're working on that. Engineering's
so
working on
the
the
35.6
complex
is
now.
without
Okay.
utilities moved.
Thanks, Gordon.
Right?
All of this is without utilities.
Right, right.
We have a general estimate for right-of-way, and it says a little bit of utility relocation of 26 million. We think that might be a little light. But that doesn't mean that 26 million is all Iowa DOT or all of the city cost.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering about in the allocation. And don't take me wrong on this. I mean, I appreciate what you're doing, what DOT's doing. I really do. But I'm just saying, how do we as a council, how do we prepare for those numbers that are about to come? And Gordon just answered partly answered my question, that you're working on that now. But I suppose the sooner we get some kind of an allocation or a number, the sooner we can start doing some budgeting and preparing for it. Because I don't think we have anything do we have anything in the budget for this kind of thing?
No. For example, we got one sanitary sewer line that we're going to get rid of that feeds that old tool depot and that roofing company. We're going to reroute their services to behind their building. We've got some money in our unplanned sewer, so we're going to be doing that right away. Other conflicts we can't do until the actual construction goes on. And some of it's going to have to be done with their contractor, whoever that is for the bridge and the conduit.
Okay, I appreciate that, Gordon. And I don't want to get into too much detail, but I mean, the ARPA funds that we've had, those will be long gone because we're going to be way past all those deadlines. So then we need to look at where are we going to find the dollars to.
So in partnership, Iowa DOT and Sioux City are looking at all the funding options for this project. There are federal discretionary grants, where those funding streams and applications will occur and who would take the lead. There's some benefit city taking the lead and we write a letter of support, and then there's some benefit where we would take the lead and the city would write a letter of support. So as we begin to refine our estimate and our scope and truly know what we, like for utility conflicts, have, we get a more real number, as real as you can nowadays, right? We have our contingencies. We're trying to eliminate some of those unknowns because I don't like surprises. You guys don't like surprises. And then looking at the various funding streams, recognizing that this is a huge capital investment, not only for the state of Iowa, but for Sioux City. So, and this is one of many capital investments for the state of Iowa. And so it's prioritized for 2028, and we want to make sure that we get it right.
And I appreciate that, and I think we do want to do the same. We don't want to have a surprise, and we want to be able to tell our taxpayers that as far in advance as we possibly can, this is what's going to be coming, and that we have to deal with it and address it and come up with solutions. That would be very helpful, too. So thank you for that information.
Well, and I would just say to continue to have the conversations, I mean, and seek input, whether it's, you know, keeping people updated and abreast to different conversations or alternatives or what those meetings are looking like, and where we can have input or make those decisions, or when you're seeking that, so that the mayor and others can feel that they are updated and making decisions so that we can all be on board with the formal layout of the project. Because our last large project, you know, there were those that felt they didn't have all the information. And so I want to make sure that the council is all on the same page as far as how things went forward and what decisions were made and what things we are able to influence and able to try to make decisions for or impact. I think that that's going to be really important. So I don't know if when you're looking, you said within the month, maybe to have an answer and a response. So I don't know if we need to, I'll leave that to City Legal or Gordon and Bob to have a discussion of whether we need to have a meeting and openly discuss our views and our thoughts and concerns, or, you know, seeking input, however we want to do that. I mean, we have the information now and we can email our thoughts and feelings to Gordon. I mean, I've shared with Gordon in our team meeting kind of where I was, but I just want everyone to be on the same page. I think that's important.
I think the public hearing is, we have to have the public hearing.
Legally, we
All
have to have
council
a public
present.
hearing. Our intent, though, is as these options come up, we will come before the council and present them. So these are options that have come up since December, which is why we're here today. As we get into a refined aesthetic, whatever the leading design is aesthetically, our intent would be to come present it to City Council. Our goal is actually to have a solidified aesthetic by public hearing, so the public knows what this structure is really going to look like with renderings. So again, as items come up, our intent is to present them to city council.
I think we're on the same page for that. What I don't want to have happen, and I think the mayor was alluding to this before, what I don't want to have happen is that we give individual opinions or input or feedback, and if someone outside the council collects that, that's an illegal meeting. I mean, we have to be really careful about that. No one can collect our individual thoughts, put them together, and say this is what the majority of the council think or feel. That all has to be in an open, public meeting. Goes without saying, I hope, but just for the record, I think we need to be very careful about proceeding on giving, I mean, I'll give you individual input, but don't take that as that's your vote or that's how it is today, because that's ever changing with public input, with other thoughts that come up. Some unintended consequences always come back and get us some way, and we have to be careful of those. And you have the same concerns as well.
So the December 11th city council input, we were going off the letter that was on Sioux City letterhead from 2022 to validate that. Understood that in that 2022 letter, the city had preferred that it would be built on alignment. You are one of the stakeholders, but there was other reasons why we were lending ourselves to a southern alignment and the pros and cons of that. So that was an Iowa DOT decision to currently go off alignment. And it's not final yet. We're refining it because as we get into these details of utilities and things, it could flip back because we run into a major conflict or something else that we have to weigh what is reasonable, feasible, and prudent.
And there's still archaeological studies going.
Correct. So.
I appreciate this discussion today. It's most helpful, and I will get out and take a look at it. Like, back in the old days, we did that with planning and zoning. They'd take us out and we'd see every site we had dealt with, see it firsthand and actually walk it. So
Dan,
that's what I need to do here, so I'm glad you suggested that to us as well.
And Dan, whenever you would like to go out, I'm
Thanks, Gordon.
take you out.
I'll take you up on that, yeah, thank you. Maybe on a sunny day, we could take the convertible if we.
Sure. I have that available. Mm-hmm.
We'll make a lot of stops, I just hope we don't get in trouble.
All right, anything else?
We appreciate the time and thank you
Very much. That was
Yeah,
very helpful.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone, citizen, want to be heard, please come forward to the microphone. Matthew.
Reminder, tomorrow is ACT test day for juniors only. So there's been a lot of juniors studying for the ACT, and so district-wide, we're doing a test day for juniors only at high school. Exactly. Make sure that they put their best foot forward in the morning and are there bright and early. Show up late to that one. I will be in Des Moines tomorrow. I'm pretty excited for this. It's the American Red Cross Heroes of the Heartland in Altoona. My amazing wife is being honored there tomorrow, so I'm pretty excited for that.
If you get in trouble, I know the chief of police well, so throw my name out.
All right.
The chief, it's actually one that likes me.
That makes all the difference.
Lock them up.
And then Saturday, we're going to have 2 Power Rangers in town at Acme Comics, the Pink Ranger and the Yellow Ranger. And I'm going to butcher the names here, but it's Nakia Burries and Catherine Sutherland.
Are you reading the proclamation? Because I can't be there, because I know you get into that, so I'm glad
Right
that you.
there.
Excited for that one, so.
Expect some copies, you know, just, you know,
Should be a fun time.
All right.
you'll have a great time.
Oh, yeah.
When they have the costume characters there.
That's everything for this week.
Julie.
I want to bring up the wind. I know it's been super windy and it is going to not let up. There's one thing we've been getting more and more of the last 10 years, maybe even 15, is wind here across the plains, which brings lots of litter, garbage, all kinds of things flying through the sky, rolling through our streets. So this is Earth Week coming up the 22nd, but we're trying to stretch it to Earth Month. And Alex and I serve on the Public Works team, and we've really been putting our heads together, talking about ways the community can come together other than just a litter dash, but to acknowledge we each have a responsibility when we see trash, paper, plastic, whatever it is, flying through the streets, to stop and pick it up if it's within your reach. It's not someone else's trash, garbage, it's all of ours because it's in our city. So we're going to do some promoting, we're going to do some PSAs, we might even get a bus wrapped yet, I don't know. But we have ordinances for our containers, and I want everybody to be aware of what those are. And I wasn't even sure what they were up until last month, and I asked for a copy of it. We must keep our residential trolleys, our bins, closed at all times. We need to take them off of the curb 24 hours after they're picked up. If you've got dumpsters for your business, they need to be able to be closed at all times. So if you're stacking trash, believe me, I've rented a dumpster for 12 years. If you're stacking trash above it and you can't get the lid shut, then maybe you need to have them come and dump it one extra time that week, or perhaps order a bigger one that gives you more yardage. We just have to really put our heads together and try to find solutions for this trash that we see around. So I just want to get everybody thinking about it. It's early in the month. Again, we're going to put the information out. What is our ordinance? You can find it on Sioux City's website as well, if you really want to look it up. But keeping those container lids closed at all times is the main focus of that ordinance, to keep the trash from blowing out of it. So anyway, I just want to have a cleaner city, and we have to work together to do it. So thanks, everybody.
Ally?
Yeah, I had a few different things I wanted to bring to light. First and foremost is there's the Tolerance Week celebration this Wednesday. Be out at the Railroad Museum. That's always a powerful event, a chance for reflection and just thinking about how we all maybe need to be a little more tolerant and practice that, and just learning our lessons of our past. But I always appreciate the program that's put on out there. There are a lot of passionate community members, that's for sure. And if you, as a reminder, if you haven't been out to the Holocaust exhibit that's at the Railroad Museum, it's free and open to the public. You really need to get out there and check that out. I've been to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. a few different times, and I tell you what, on a much smaller scale, ours is just still so powerful in the exact same way as those in our other larger cities across the country and across the globe. So I would encourage you to check that out. They have a replica box card there. They have exhibits. They have stories of people throughout our community that were impacted by the Holocaust. So I would just ask that you think about that during this week for Tolerance Week. The second thing that I wanted to bring up is similar to what Julie was discussing. I was able to go down for the downtown recycling bins that were unveiled. We have 8 different large containers that are going to be for the recycling throughout the downtown. I want to thank a few different people. I want to make sure to thank Era for all of her work in coordinating this effort, working with City Legal, Gill Hauling, Downtown Partners, business owners, all those different individuals to make this effort possible. I stole a tagline that one of the Gill guys was saying before we went on air, but I thought it was really indicative of kind of where I hope we as a community are going, and it was just to make Sioux City a little cleaner and greener. And I think that that's something that we should strive to do. So if you live in our downtown, or if you have a business in our downtown, make sure to watch for those brightly designed, courtesy of Brutal Doodles. We worked with Jessica Hammond to be able to wrap those. And so I think it brings a little energy and life and vibrance to our downtown, as well as directing people to be able to utilize them that maybe don't have that curbside that you traditionally would maybe in your residence in a neighborhood or something like that. So please watch out for those and utilize them as much as possible. Next, I wanted to bring up along that same line is Litter Dash. Litter Dash is right around the corner. As Julie said, I think as a council and as a community, we are really committed to making sure that we are presenting our best selves in our community, and we all need to band together to be able to pick up trash, whether it's on our city street or around our business, anything like that. We're asking everyone to chip in and be a part of it. Litter Dash is on April 19th, and we would ask that you register if at all possible. Gather a team together and register. You can find the information on registering on our city's website, as well as social media and various Facebook pages. I'm sure the news is doing a great job of getting out that word because we need truly a community effort to be able to get everyone out there doing that. I would ask that the city manager, Bob, if you can do anything. I know we received an email earlier today from ERA just encouraging city staff to take advantage of that, use their volunteer time to be able to do this. I had a conversation with ERA, and I would just say that I really encourage everyone that works for the city of Sioux City, if they are able, and as approved by supervisors, and I understand not all jobs are going to allow you to leave during that time on the 19th, but I would ask that you register and participate. You know, we're all here to really be a part of the city and making it better, and if we can take some time, a couple hours, to volunteer as a department, I think it does a lot towards team building, but also just having that collective message that not only do we work for this entity, but we would truly care about the community that we're working for. And so I do want to give a shout out to, actually, the city of Sioux City has one department that has registered so far. So shout out to Neighborhood Services for registering for Litter Dash and gathering a team. But don't worry, I'm having her take notes of like who's registering and everything so I can encourage them to do so and thank them. But really appreciate that. So please look for that email that was sent out to all city staff this morning. And Bob, I appreciate your encouragement for any city organizations or groups, teams here in City Hall to be able to take advantage and register. The last thing that I wanted to bring up is I wanted to also thank Brittany and Gordon for joining me on the phone call. We did have that phone call with the federal DOT regarding railroad crossings. I thought it was a beneficial conversation to at least have an open discussion about different funding mechanisms, thinking about railroad crossings, the elimination of railroad crossings, what we can do to alleviate that congestion, and really try to work to be a better community in coordination with the railroad. And so I thought that it was very beneficial. One of the things that I thought was most beneficial that came out of it that I had not heard of before, that the Federal Railroad Association, or Federal FRA, was saying would be very helpful is they actually have a website. Similar to on our website, we have the Report a Pothole, where you can go on, you can report a pothole. Pat and his team will get an email or a memo that will let them know that something's been submitted. The FRA actually has a website, and they want you to log anytime you are sitting at an intersection and there's a train blocking your ability to cross that intersection or that roadway. You can log on to the website. It's www.fra.dot.gov/blocked crossings. So I'm going to make sure, I'm going to work with city staff to get that word out, to be able to have the public utilize that feature and report these crossings, because they actually in turn utilize that information to have those calculations of how often are people reporting that they're being blocked due to a railroad or due to cars being over in front of the road. I was pretty shocked to find out that in all of last year, anyone have any guesses how many reports we had of a blocked street?
None.
17.
You know why? Because people get tired and just drive around. They don't.
Exactly. So if you're not driving around and trying to race around to beat the train, and you want to stop there, take a few minutes, help out your community by going onto this website, reporting that blockage, because then they use that information, that data, to prioritize where they're going to direct that. That's how I understand it. Brittany and Gordon, is that kind of what you understood as well? Great. So we'll make sure to do an effort on social media to push out that website and just do everything we can to try to coordinate with the railroad moving forward. That's all I had, Mayor.
Mayor, a couple things dealing with the city assessor, the Sioux City Conference Board, of which we are all members. They're seeking applications for an opening on the local board of review. One of 2 open positions has been filled. The assessor is accepting applications until April 19th, and the next meeting for the conference board to review those applications and interview potential candidates will be on April 23rd at noon. So if you know of anyone who would be a good candidate for this position, please have them send an application or resume to the city assessor at 620 Douglas Street, 5th floor, Sioux City. Applicants must live in the city limits of Sioux City, have knowledge of the real estate market and trends, appraisal or construction knowledge. Board of Review members are paid $200 per day, and they meet in the month of May. The number of days is dependent on the number of appeals received. This year will be a little bit different than 2023, but I said, what were those numbers in 2023? And the city assessor provided these official numbers that they have to turn into the Department of Revenue. And last year, 2023, they sent out 31,679 assessment notices. And between April 2nd and April 25th, they had 345 informal appeals. And that period is running now for informal appeals. Out of the 345 informal appeals, 295 were residential, 19 commercial, and 19 were residential with 3 or more families, and 2 ag residential dwellings. They also had 1,353 formal appeals. 2 were ag properties, 99 commercial, 12 industrial, 50 residential with 3 or more families, and 1,190 residential. If you combine the informal and formal appeals, it's a total of 1,698, which equals 5.4% of all notices sent out. And this year, I think will be a lot less notices that have gone out, but if you've received a notice and you're not satisfied with your assessed value, an informal appeal is really a good way to go, and visit with the city assessor, and they will visit and talk about what they can or cannot do. So we will have that conference board meeting April 23rd at noon, so you want to mark your calendars for that. We talked about, earlier I talked about the vacancies on the boards and commissions, and I just want to send out a message to everyone. We really, really depend on our boards and commissions for recommendations and for input on various matters. So please, if you're interested in serving the city in some respect, take a look at our boards and commissions where we have vacancies. If we don't have vacancies, you can still fill an application out, and when there's an opening, you'll be in line for an interview and an appointment. That's all I have, Mayor.
We're just about at the 3-minute limit. I move we adjourn.
Second. I saw you with the gavel.
Scott?
Pounding the gavel.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
O'Kane?
Aye.
Shaner?
Aye.
Want to take this from me, buddy?